For the white people that cut off their racist family members, I have questions. And before I ask them, please understand that I don't have the answers. That's why I'm asking you. So this isn't like a judgment thing.
These are some of the questions I think we should start asking. And this lady right here came out to ask that question. What do you do when the people who raised you, the ones meant to love and protect you, uphold beliefs that harm others? For some white folks, the answer is painful but clear. They choose to walk away. In this video, we are going to be looking at different stories of individuals who made that difficult decision to cut ties with family members because of deep-rooted racism and discrimination. It's a conversation about values, integrity, and what it means to truly be an ally, not just in public but around the dinner table. So guys, welcome to today's video. If you're new to this space, kindly subscribe to the channel, like the video, share, and leave your thoughts in the comment section, and let us dive right into the video.
For the white people that cut off their racist family members, I have questions. And before I ask them, please understand that I don't have the answers. That's why I'm asking you. So this isn't like a judgment thing. Because in my other video, a lot of people were saying they cut them off because they don't want to be associated with them. They don't want to deal with them. And on the surface, I understand that, but also it's you aren't dealing with them, but the rest of us are still having to deal with them, right? And it's if not you, then who? So if you are the voice of reason and your voice is no longer there, whose voice of reason is it? And again, what is the purpose? What is the goal? And also, who is it for? Is it for you? Is it for the people that they cause harm to? I don't quite understand. Mind you, I'm not saying that this is on you. I'm not saying that you can control their behavior. Obviously you can't. But I guess I'm trying to understand the logic here. Is this actually about anti-racism, or is this about your comfort? Or do you feel that they are unredeemable and therefore you must completely cut them off so that, people aren't believing that you agree with them? Which, again, I could understand that. I don't know. I don't have the answers. I'm just trying to figure something out. For the white people that cut off their racist family members, I have questions.
Thank you for that. It's been a while since somebody's video has made me feel this uncomfortable, and I appreciate it, actually. I do. First of all, I want to point out that proximity matters. I haven't had to cut off, or I haven't cut off close family members. I haven't cut off anybody closer than a second cousin, to be honest with you, because I didn't have that voice into their lives, into their opinions. They were dismissive. And in those cases, my voice of reason was really not part of their thought process anyway. And your next question, who is it for? Is it for me? Is it for the targets of the racism? Is it for them? Is it for other people? I would say it's probably all of the above, but primarily I don't want to provide a platform for their voice. I don't want to provide a space for them to present their arguments or the dismissive attitude or their racism, quite frankly. Which gets me to the why. I think it is largely about anti-racism. It is partly about my comfort. Those aren't mutually exclusive, I wouldn't say. Now, the question is, are they irredeemable? I would say no, but they're irredeemable by me. They have moved beyond my ability to reach them. That's the decision that I made. Now, I'm not really worried about people thinking that I agree with them, because my views have been pretty well laid out and they're pretty well established and documented. However, again, it comes back to, I don't want to provide a platform for them. I don't want to provide the bullhorn for them to spread their message.
For the white people that cut off their racist family members, I have questions. And before I ask them, please understand that
I think I can answer your question. I think I can. I personally am scrappy as fuck, okay? And I scrap all the time with my racist relatives, as much as is gonna let me stay sane. But there's a couple of things that get in the way of a continual conversation towards any kind of progress. Number one, they get highly abusive, okay? They get real abusive real fast if you question their racism. If you question their biases, they get real vicious real quick. And sometimes it can get downright dangerous. No joke. I've had my own fucking relatives call me shit I wouldn't call my worst enemy, because I kicked the bear, you know what I mean? And at that point, there's no progress to be had. The conversation isn't conversing. It's him yelling at me or screaming at me or just hurling abuse, and me just sitting there going, okay, when are you gonna be done? And another factor is that when you are the advocate in the family that is anti-racist, when you are the person in the family that's anti-racist, whenever they have a run-in with a person of color or do anything negative towards a person of color, and there's a kerfuffle or whatever, they will always turn on you as the representative of the people of color and hurl the exact same kind of vitriol your way if you try to advocate. So if you're a kid living with your parents and you're the sane one and they're just racist as fuck, that is a dangerous fucking situation to be in. So arguing with them, not exactly a good idea. Same thing if you're a woman in a relationship where the man is incredibly domineering or whatever. Same situation, not an easy fight to be had. But then there's the added thing, and that is that knowing that there's not a conversation to be had, right? You literally can sit there and get them to admit that they have black friends or have met black people that were good at their jobs, or like you can sit there and tear down every single fucking thing they've built up in their minds and they will still cling to it. And they will look at you like you're the crazy one. It's impossible to cure them of it. It's impossible to cure them of it. And this is why. It's a fucking cult. Racism is a cult, guys. These fucks groupthink, okay? And they cling together. And if you try to pop one off, they just go right back to their media silo and re-indoctrinate themselves. And it's a simple fact of psychology. You cannot deprogram someone unless they are willing. They will not opt out of racism, so it's impossible to get them to opt out of racism. In all honesty, they have to get to a point where they are really, really hurting, where their reality is thrown, and they can actually question things because they have to. A good example of this is American History X, the film, right? It kind of gives you a tableau on what it looks like for a racist to confront their racism. Notice that he couldn't do it until he was in prison and put in a life or death situation where he was the littlest fucking fish. It wasn't until he had only black people advocating for him that he realized the white folks had left him, and what he had been saying and thinking about black people all along was the exact opposite, and God, what a fool he was, right? And of course, in the end of that film, we see it never goes away. It goes from one person to the next like a virus. And in all honesty, when you're the one anti-racist in a pack of racists, that is some mental warfare right there. And they team up on you and they try their level best to tear you apart. So, I can completely understand why one person in a group would be like, nope, not saying a thing. Gonna walk away from this fucking shit, get away from this toxic bullshit as quick as I can and go put my energy towards a place where I know it can actually do some good, where there is actually progress to be had. I would spend 24 hours marching in a street before I'd have a 1-hour conversation with my racist relatives, because I know that that's going to do more fucking good than me having that conversation. But, I mean, give me any racist in the street, I'll punch him as soon as look at him, right? Okay? Yeah, you give me a schmatzy right in front of me, I'm going fucking honey badger on that shit, unless I'm related to them. Because if I'm related to them, they know where I live, you get it? And they are toxic fucking bastards. So I do understand the degree of separation some people want from that conflict, just because the toxicity that comes from it makes it nearly impossible to get through without some kind of trauma.
For the white people that cut off their racist family members, I have questions. And before I ask them, please understand that,
You had a lot of questions, and I listened to most of them, and then towards the end, I just was like, well, let me just answer the question, because the singular question was enough. Racism is a learned behavior. It is not a behavior that we are innately born with. And I want to raise decent... You're wearing shorts. Anyway. Anyway, I want to raise decent human beings. I don't want them to be racist. I don't want them to hear the words or to even have an inkling as to what they might mean. And obviously, my voice wasn't a voice of reason, which is why I had to cut them off, because they weren't listening to me. Hopefully their loneliness helps change their mind.
Family, they say, is everything, but if you have to cut ties with your family members, then it means that reason must be so cogent for you to take that decision. We grow up hearing that family is everything, but what happens when everything includes hate, bigotry, or casual racism at the dinner table? Choosing to live doesn't mean you don't love your family. It means you love justice and humanity even more. I think it's better to leave than to remain in that toxic environment. And at the end of the day, it gets to affect your mental health. Your mental health is so important. And if you feel that environment is so toxic for you, please take your bag and leave. White folks often have the privilege of choosing when to engage with racism. For BIPOC communities, that's Black, Indigenous, and people of color, there is no off switch. So when a white person takes a stand against racism, even within their own family, it's not about being a hero. It's about stepping into a responsibility that should have always been there. It's easy to post a hashtag or share an article online. It's much harder to challenge a racist uncle at Thanksgiving or any other family gathering, but that's where real allyship lives, not in the post, but in the pushback, especially when it costs something. Some who cut ties also hold out to hope, not for a perfect reconciliation, but for growth. Sometimes distance is what forces people to reflect, and sometimes, not always, it plants the seed of change. And just as it is always said that racism is something that is being acquired, it is not inborn. And that is the basic truth, that is the fact. Imagine a baby that's just born today. Are you trying to tell me that right in the genes of that baby, right in the chromosomes of that baby, you've got racism there? Of course not. But as this child keeps growing, and if this child finds him or herself in this kind of family or in this kind of environment, what do you expect? The answer is not far-fetched. Cutting ties with family over racism isn't an easy choice. It's a heartbreaking one, but for many, it's a necessary act of integrity, of love for others, and of refusal to stay silent. Allyship isn't always loud. Sometimes it's quiet. Sometimes it's walking away. Sometimes it's choosing values over comfort. These choices don't make someone perfect. They make them accountable. Yeah, people have to be accountable for their actions. People have to be accountable for the decisions that they make. So if you're out there and you're watching this video and you've been faced with this choice, just know that you are not alone. And to those still figuring it out, keep asking hard questions. Growth starts in discomfort. Justice starts at home. While putting this video together, I came across two comments that caught my attention, and this is one of them. Most people I know who cut off family members for that or any other bigotry only did so after years of trying to educate them and change their views. Some people are just toxic and don't want to learn. And that's it. You can't force people to change. You can't force people to learn what they do not want to learn. If they've chosen that that's what they want to hold on to, then sometimes you just have to let them be. When you try to educate someone and they are not ready to change, they are not ready to unlearn and relearn, the best thing you can do to yourself is just keep your mouth shut, and either you walk away or you remain in that environment. And the next comment says, for me, I had to cut contact for my safety. While my family is that, they are so homophobic, narcissistic, and unpredictable. Wow, unpredictable, meaning her own life is not even safe. So it's just better for her to walk away so that she does not end up losing her life, because that's the case here. Kindly drop your thoughts in the comment section. If this is your experience or you know people that have experienced things like this, kindly drop in the comment section. If you've watched up to this point, then it means you found this video interesting. Kindly click on the subscribe button, like the video, share, and leave your thoughts in the comment section. And we are going to see in the next one. Thank you and bye-bye.